everyone. Today's subject, Fanstoys Tesla. Not a bad figure. A good version of Perceptor if you want one. Not going to do any showing off his alt mode or anything. He's a microscope. What's to show off? Just go over a few things I like about him, a few things I'm not too crazy about him. The one thing I'm not crazy about is his lips. I'm not crazy about those. Otherwise, I think his head sculpt is pretty good. I do like the metallic eyes that are in there. That's really nice. The scope works somewhat. It kind of distorts things and flips them upside down, but it does work a little bit. You can choose whether you want this on his right or left shoulder, which is a nice little nod. Just clips in. I prefer it on his left, which is where it was in the cartoon, so that's where it's going to stay. This can open up, and there's some really nice detail in there. And they put a spot for the Autobot symbol. As you see, I put a repro label in there. Which I think, you know, when it comes to Masterpiece figures, and I know I just did a video on Hot Rod with the repro labels. I'm not really a fan of putting repro labels on Masterpiece figures other than symbols on the third-party ones. Because for me, the Masterpiece figures try to evoke the cartoon, if that makes any sense. And in that case, because the animation style was simplified versions of the character designs, you didn't get a lot of detail parts on them. They had to keep it simple so they could fluidly animate the things. So I like the simpler detail. Now I do have the lighter blue forearms and thighs on there. Putting them on there, I don't know if you can see, there's a slight stress mark there on the screw hole. Nothing, there's not a part that moves or anything. It's just the screw hole itself. And you can barely see it, so I'm not even worried about that. That's the only thing, and that might have been my fault. I might have over-tightened it when I was putting the parts back together. But yeah, he's got very minimal detail. He's got some silver bits picked out there. He's got a little light blue or a little darker blue on his leg, things like that. But yeah, the minimal detail, I like that. I like that a lot. He's got some good articulation, I'll give him that. Head is typical for like most of the Masterpiece. It goes left and right and goes up and down. He can look down a little bit. He's fairly big. He's about the same size as Masterpiece Soundwave, so he's a pretty big figure. Yeah, his shoulders can go all the way around. They can go out nicely. I like that. They've got, you know, your typical double jointed. Fingers are a little odd. The bottom three are permanently curved. I mean, so is this one, but it does have an extra joint. So you can kind of point, sort of. And the thumb's on a ball joint. Can't really give you a thumbs up. I can give you a thumb sideways, but it is what it is. I always like somewhat articulated fingers. I don't like super articulated fingers, get a little crazy. He's got hip skirts and stuff like that get out of the way. The butt flap doesn't get out of the way, but you know, but you can flip these up and almost get the full Van Damme going. But he's got very tight, here, squeaky. He's got a rotation there. He's got another rotation below the knee. Good 90 on the knee. His feet are die cast, which is kind of cool. Gives him enough weight. They go forward and back, and they got a nice rocker on them. So he's got a really good amount of posability, which I don't mind. Some more silver details on him there. He's pretty good. If you want a Masterpiece style Perceptor in your nice light ratcheted waist, but if you want a Perceptor for your Masterpiece collection, he's probably the best you're going to get right now until we get an official one from Takara, which who knows when that's going to be or if ever is ever going to be, because he's sort of a character I don't see them doing a masterpiece of, if that makes any sense. But then again, I didn't think they were ever going to do Soundwave. We got Soundwave. So, yeah. Tesla, not a bad figure.